I don't know if we're gonna play Blackout tonight. I think I might buy the DLC for 2 Point, and then we're gonna play some more 2 Point. Because honestly, I really don't feel like playing Blackout. I don't know, maybe. One of these things where I start playing it and then I actually enjoy it. But, like, if I think about playing it, I don't want to play it. Oh. Anyways. Yesterday we talked about Atlas, we talked about Fortnite Classic. These are based on the same Zen. Basically the same architecture as Ryzen. So AMD, these are really low-end processors. AMD hasn't released anything new up until now for APUs, so like very, very low-end PCs with integrated graphics. I have no idea why they're playing GDDR5X on 1060s. Been doing that for about 2 months, I think. Use them. No idea why. I guess people think that it's going to be a lot faster just by adding a X on there. Not just adding an X on there, it's faster memory, but it doesn't really do anything. Same processor. CPU. So Christmas is coming up. Happy Christmas Eve, guys. Technically, it is Christmas Eve currently. Monday morning, Christmas Eve. Why? 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 The only way this makes sense is if this, like, logically splits it into 3 monitors. Doesn't. That's disgusting. Mainly because when you have multiple screens and you're using multiple workspaces, you need to have the ability to snap to monitors. Maximize productivity when you're coding or doing anything really. Open, you know, like looking at other things on one screen and on a different screen. And if it's one big screen, you have a lot of problems if you're trying to divvy up the space between like a game and I don't know, video, Twitch, PDF you're looking at, an audiobook, who knows, just other things. And the other thing you put on your second monitor. That's disgusting. I can't handle ultra widescreen monitors. I can only imagine playing games on that. Unless it's specifically made for stretch gaming, which probably it's not. Like games can sometimes do surround gaming, but it depends on the game. Good morning, Slane. Depends on the game and the kind of support it has for it. Sometimes it just makes everything really bug-eyed. Scary. Power supply. Still kind of weird. NVIDIA hasn't really fully embraced HBM. even though they've made leaps and strides since it came out. HBM is really, really fast memory that AMD basically developed. Pretty sure AMD developed. They've never actually, I think only their workstation graphics cards, their Tesla, CUDA, they're like V100 series or something. Basically nothing you guys uses HBM. I don't think even their new Titan uses HBM. But all of most of AMD's new video cards, like Vega, all use HBM. HBM2. And Fury. Fucking weird names. Fury used HBM1. Good. There's a new gaming monitor I was looking at, which is all-in-one compute board. Weird thing is, guys, like when you start getting into really weird boards like this, and you have to program something very specific for the board. When you use a different architecture, like let's say than 386, computers use 386-64 or ARM. Probably something really fucking weird. Anyways, guys, yesterday we had a pretty long stream. We talked about Atlas. We aren't going to go to ad nauseum like yesterday. Atlas and then Fortnite Classic. We're going to cover the Reddits. I wanted to expand on what we talked about yesterday with Atlas. Having watched more gameplay and less people waiting on menus. Yeah, basically, as I mentioned yesterday, the whole leveling system in that game is absolutely fucked up. The stat system needs to go. The survival aspect needs to go. Like, there's a reason people, like, generally the consensus was people wanted to play on servers with, like, 4 times gather rate, because it just takes way, way too long for a ship that you just want to go and shoot other people with, and then it's going to explode. Whoever thought it was a good idea to throw the whole survival aspect to Ark at that game, fucking stupid. Maybe not fucking stupid. They really needed to chop that off. They needed to chop that whole part of Ark off, the whole survival thing, because it's basically a survival game, but they're trying to make it seem like a Battlefield game, you know, or something where you cruise around in ships, you loot and you go questing and shit like that. But you don't. It's not really an MMORPG, and it's not really an action first-person shooter like Battlefield, for instance. I use Battlefield often as kind of this other genre because it does very well define like kind of the objective-based, first-person shooter gameplay that has none of the frills tacked on from like survival or progression. There's a little bit of progression in it, but it's not really that big of a deal. Your guns unlock almost instantly, and of course you can get the upgrades from almost instantly as well. It's very, very easy. Takes you to like unlock upgrades for a gun takes you maybe a half 2 hours, maybe. As we say, half a day, 2 hours. It's not long at all. Depends on how many people you kill and such. Very easy. Very, very easy, and you don't need the upgrades for the guns. It's just unlocking them in general. Well, actually, you kind of do. A lot of guns get a lot better with upgrades on them. But not really that big of a deal. But anyways, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have things like MMORPGs, like Warcraft, Lord of the Ring, Online, Guild Wars, stuff like that. And then you got the MMO FPS hybrids, like Destiny, Warframe, Division, that kind of combine a little bit of elements of looting. Borderlands, although that's not an MMO, Borderlands. And to a certain extent, Destiny you wouldn't say is actually an MMO because of the amount of people that are playing together, right? And then, as I mentioned, the Sea of Thieves has kind of the same problem, although Sea of Thieves is a much more concise game. It's a much more They tried to actually hone in on one aspect of the game, which is just kind of fucking around and just lollygagging with your friends. And they thought for some reason that was going to attract a lot of people, and it didn't, because it doesn't go the direction of Battlefield and it doesn't go the direction of an MMORPG, right? And progression. Either have just straight up action and first person shooter, which draws people in, like Overwatch, for instance, draws people in, where they just play the game and the base game is really good. Like Overwatch, is you don't unlock characters in Overwatch. And the other side is progression, where you level up your character, you get new skills, a talent tree, all that stuff. You do questing, you do your professions and stuff like that. But in fucking Ark, it's just like this combobulation, just random shit, and then they throw survival on top of it. So not only do you have survival, where you just have to worry about your character's health and how warm you are and your vitamin D deficiency, on top of it, you have to worry about the fact, then you have to put points into shit, and you can't, it's like a game that you can't play alone. It's actually pretty stupid, and it's not really super squad based, where it's like all about how you operate your ship together. You just become the best pirate crew ever. It's not really about that either. It's just a little bit of fucking everything, and they did a really, really poor job with combining everything and figuring out what they wanted to do with their game. So they tried to do a little bit of everything and just did everything really, really badly. Like the whole progression in Ark and in Atlas, which is what we're talking about right now, is Atlas, not Ark. I refer to Ark because Ark is basically the same game. It's just Atlas has ships instead of dinosaurs. And the funny thing is, I was talking about this yesterday, and the last couple times I talked about it. The problem, one of the big deals, putting aside the technical difficulties they have with the launch, is like just the bugs. And like I said, I played Ark for a little bit. And one of the things that really pissed me off was like trying to tame a Triceratops for 4 hours and having like a fucking Velociraptor spawn on it when I'm gathering berries to feed myself and kill it, and then come back and just see a Velociraptor walking around where the Triceratops was. And it's the same thing in Atlas. There's just like people have had ships despawn when they spend like hours trying to put together a ship, like not even joking, like tens of hours, and it's with multiple people trying to work on it. Tens of hours trying to put together a ship, and then they spawn it, and then it just despawns. It just disappears. It just disappears into nothingness. So basically, just flush the handle on the toilet and jiggle it a little bit and turn on the fan. That sort of thing is just a steaming dump, and that's like one of the things. Imagine if you played PoE and then your character just randomly disappeared. You play it for 30 hours and your character just went boop and it's gone. Yeah, it's kind of a really big deal. Kind of a very, really big deal. Very, very game-breaking bug right there. And it's not just specifically because it's really that big of a deal in terms of the overall game. Like, the game's not crashing. Well, the game is crashed. The game does crash. I watched Shroud earlier tonight and his game blue-screened. His game blue-screened. But putting that aside, like, it's not something where the game crashes, but it is like a game-stopping bug because it relates to how the severity of how much influences people that play the game. Like, if someone spends tens of hours doing something and then their ship just blips out of existence, that's a really pretty big bug. That's like, when the time commitment, just like, because it's going to piss people off immensely, and then they're going to quit your game. They're just going to rage quit, because that's what I would do. It's just like one of those things where you just lose it, and then you're just like, fuck this. You throw your keyboard up and you just walk out of the room. But yeah, like, just the whole idea of Ark is it's just fucking stupid. Like, some people like everything where it's just combined together, right? And maybe someday they'll figure out the perfect blend of survival mixed with a progression-based game, mixed with a squad-based shooter, mixed with, like, just everything. Maybe eventually someday they'll figure it out, but that is not today. And Ark is a steaming pile of shit, and Atlas is no exception from that rule. It's just some people really like that. Some people like having a dump on their chest too. Some people like getting pissed on. It's just, some people enjoy that sort of thing. Some people like getting punched in the dick. And it's just, but if you look at it and you look at what they're doing in the game, it's just, I watched someone tonight who got so pissed off at the game because he basically got spawn camped by mobs. There's just way too many mobs and they're way too easy to kill them. But anyways, putting that aside, like, it's just too. There's just too much shit going on, and like it's one of these things where you have to either do everything yourself or you need to know a group of people that will do everything for yourself. As I mentioned, there's no economy in the game. In other MMOs, you don't need to be a tailor and a blacksmith. You can get someone else to do tailoring and make you a weird thing that you need from tailoring, right? but there isn't. The crafting competes with the combat-based talent trees in Ark. It's really fucking stupid. I don't understand it all. It's like it's just made by like a 3-year-old or something who decided to throw everything together. Because like when you imagine World of Warcraft, if you had your talent trees back when it had talent trees, imagine your skill talent trees competing with points for your crafting talent trees. Who the fuck does that? Why would you do that? How the fuck does that make sense? Because obviously, you know, people want skills, so that just means you basically have worthless characters on a server that just can't fucking do anything except craft, and then they just have to, you know, spit out crafting materials, and then you hop onto your other character, which apparently you can't have more than one character on a server. So basically you just have people that are worthless in your guild that just build shit, and that's all they can do. That's all they can do with their life. And you can't build shit because you have to put all your points into combat, or maybe you're the guy that just builds shit and you're worthless in combat because you can't put any points into something else. So then you need people to defend you against the non-existent people that are going to come and kill you. Like I mentioned before, with all the work that people put into building ships in Atlas, all the work they put into people building ships in Atlas, no one's going to fucking do it. No one's going to PvP because it's such a huge time sink. It's just like the whole game itself, and people even have gone. We looked at the trailer yesterday. People haven't even gotten to like the whole, like, let's go kill like dragons and shit. It's just fucking dumb. Oh, there's winter sales on. Yay! Old news. That's talked about winter sale like 5 years ago. Yeah, just like if you look at this isn't anything like what the people are doing in the game. Right now, what they're doing in game is gathering. That's it. They're gathering and dying to lions and shit. This is not what they're doing. Like they make this look like this is just like it's like a Battlefield game, right? It's a pirate Battlefield game like Sea of Thieves, but it's not. It's like a gather survival game. Like if this is what the Ark or Atlas developers wanted to do, like if this is what they wanted to do, they fucking did it wrong. I mean, all they have to do is watch their video and go, huh, maybe that's what we should have done. And instead they are, you know, you look at the game and it's just people picking berries and gathering thatch to make a small little ship and hating their lives. Like they're never even going to get to this part of the game. It's actually pretty tragic. Like this is what they wanted to do with the game, and then it just... the score has went down for the game too. Good. Double the reviews, less ratings. Or not that Steam means really anything, but honestly, like the ship itself is just like the stuff in the game. Like, you know, if you can imagine the amount of time people are going to spend building this stuff, they don't want to go and just have a battle with people. Like that's the shitty thing about this is like when you actually have, if you want people to actually have battles like this, generally they aren't going to spend hundreds of hours making a ship just to have it destroyed. You know, like that's you can't save it. The ship doesn't respawn. There's no questing to get your ship back, like a respawn token or something weird. Nothing. Your ship's just gone. It goes into oblivion. It's just it's gone. It's out of nothingness. It's just there's just so much shit that's just wrong with the game. Just putting aside the technical bugs and the glitches and the you know, like just the horrible launch that they had. It's just the game itself just isn't really that much fun. They just fuck the pooch with it. Much like with Ark. But for some reason, like, we looked at Steam charts and there's still people that play Ark, which is really kind of weird. I know some people on my channel who have played Ark for an extended period of time, and I guess if that, like I said, if that's your cup of tea, I suppose. But unfortunately, it's not mine. It's not most people's, so... Streamer spent 12 hours to swim out of a lady sewer. What does that mean? So there's a new Christmas update for 2 Point. We might play this tonight. I might do both. I don't know. I probably really should play a game. I don't really want to play both though. The thing is, like,
calibrated equipment is operated by compassionate healthcare practitioners, many of whom have even been to medical school or...
It's cold out there, and it's set to be a winter of discontent for residents of the Pointy Mountains, 2 Point County's frostiest area.
Yeah, Atlas just absolutely shit the bed.
Investment in the region's healthcare facilities. Yet he is accused of having no clear plan. With hospitals at breaking point, what is this Bigfoot's big idea? Quite. Want to join me at the country club later? We'll play tennis.
Yeah, I know that ditch. It's pretty easy to build a raft. The rafts are just pieces of shit. Everything in that game is just built on top of you just gathering resources and shit. Yep, so we might do 2-point tonight. We might do... I don't think I'm going to do Oxy. I have to be in a mood to... a certain mode to play Oxy. We might do Buff. I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, Alice just... steaming dump. Absolute steaming dump. Like I said, I give it about a week. It's basically the same people that are playing it. Even the people that generally liked Ark and played, like, the RP sort of games, like, are kind of just poo-pooing on it. Well, not poo-pooing on it, but they're kind of losing faith. Like, when people ask them how good the game is, and they just go, oh, if you like Ark, you'll like this game. Yeah, because it's the same fucking game. Of course, it's the same game. Kind of sad. Like, 2 Point's actually a pretty good simulator. Simulators in general, though, are always been a really niche genre. Most simulator games don't have a really big audience. There's not many people that like watching just building things. General, I don't know. I think maybe we'll do the DLC. Like 5 hospitals. They'll probably. I think we're down last time. I think we could do like a hospital per stream, maybe every 2 streams. So it's about 10 days. Maybe a little less than that. 5 to 10 days worth of content right there. I never actually went to that.
It's cold.
Oh, I never went to that menu or that page before. I've been using the back and forward buttons. Seems like Steam inside of the Steam browser is like a website, but not really. 42 updates or 42 reviews. 3 new hospitals. The lady server, you rubber rental. Yeah, all the servers, all the official servers were really bad on Saturday. Apparently they're better today. I was watching someone play on live server today. It was pretty good, but putting aside technical problems, there's just lots of issues with the game. Just lots and lots of issues with the game. Just fundamentally, the game itself is just bad. Like, because I mean, not the Ark, not that the idea of what they were trying to do is bad, but rather their implementation is just horrible. Like, they should have just chopped off the whole survival aspect. They should have chopped off the stats tree. That should have just went the way of the dodo. Like, you have linear stats. If you just level up, it just automatically makes stats for you. They want you to have a bigger inventory. They give you, get a big. Or, so you aren't eternally fucked if you mess up your stats or something like that. The whole points to stats is just really... but anyways, let's take a look at the Reddits, guys. Not a lot happening. It's the weekend. It's the weekend before Christmas. So... Crepus emotes. His tongue will appear, and he seems to be a perfect fit for this. That's pretty cool. Yeah, like I mentioned, kind of in terms of what they're doing in Fortnite right now, like they're actually... It used to be where they'd always stick to the base models to make it so it didn't seem like your character is really kind of weird or you couldn't find characters, something like that. But with like the last couple months, they've definitely been straying outside of that with the characters where they actually have a different face and head. Like this. And like actual fingers are different, stuff like that. Not just the clothes are different, but actually the whole character is different. All over... It seems as though they're staying to the same size silhouette, so it's not like characters are really tall or really short or fat. Generally, they're very much the same size. Like, questionable whether or not the horns are actually part of his hitbox, for instance. Cool stuff. You can only take that so far. if you aren't like, I guess not so far. You can do a lot of stuff with just like base models, but like adding, you can only dress people up, you know, so many different times before you just want to change what you're dressing up, right? As has been talked about, but formation rocks in between tomato and whaling has been moving around. Huh. Like it's crying. Oh, that's too bad if people weren't actually taking photos of this. Hmm. Oh, I noticed. I knew it happened. I knew all along that that happened. Yeah. Everyone's an expert online, and everyone knows everything. FBI, open up. Motivation, guys. The fuck? Yeah, all their kind of pseudo real life additions to the game, very cool. Like where they have events that are just sporadic and out of nowhere. Very cool. Just wanted to do something very similar to a game I eventually want to make. But it's not just them. Video game development 2.0, like to coin that as, where it's just very, very fast updates and relating to real life. So it's kind of surprise sort of thing. People love surprises, usually. I just gotta play like this. I like how you can't. When people super zoom in their screen so you can't actually see what's happening on the rest of the screen. This is a Giphy someone made out of video. And they turned off the HUD. Turned into Attack on Titan. Cool. Sky glitched, and it's beautiful. Huh. Northern Lights. The whole planet's warping. How to swim in Fortnite. What the fuck? Interesting animation glitch. On console as well. Rarity switch option in the game. Yeah, no. Like, some aspects of the game, like, you want people to actually... like, you can automate a lot of parts of a video game, but at some points you actually want people to interact with the game instead of just doing everything. Because you could do a lot of things for people, but you kind of want people to actually do things themselves. Me and my friends play Fortnite. Like, looting and adjusting your inventory is actually part of a battle royale, for instance. Cool. Take a look at the Reddits, guys. Shedder's fixed, and other hilarious jokes you can tell yourself. That had something to do with that pillar right there. Like, 'cause this is a stairwell, and this pillar is actually on top of the stairwell. Somehow, it underneath the pillar. Huh. They probably could fix that with a map update. You don't need your drops here. That's harsh. The Cozy Winter Cabin with Mercy, full Ashman, and comments by Delongodo. It's only the sort of shit you get, guys, once you have a big enough game with a community that loves your game. Where they actually make, like, this is something that someone spent a lot of time on. They make stuff like that. Mercy likes showing off your thighs. In lore reason, Mercy likes showing off your thighs. Weird. Weird complaining about the way people dress. Good. we're looking for, guys, not just a Giphy version. Yeah, Path of Exile is a game that I've always considered playing. It's just like progression-based games like Warframe. I don't know if I'm there yet. It's almost like just streaming single-player games. Good. I've considered it. Like tonight, not sure what I want to play. Maybe we'll play both, maybe 2 Point. No Kaplan sitting in a chair for 24 hours this year, though, guys. Weird. They did that last year. Year before, where an Overwatch is really big. Something you could have on a Yule log, set it on loop constantly, because it's basically looped. Aww. Aww. Let's see. Do we have anything else going on here? Both is just people complaining about skins. And it's the weekend. It's Christmas, guys. Greetings. Well, not Christmas. Christmas is in 2 days. A day, actually, technically. Yeah. Domination in a nutshell. B-flag, teammates, we don't do that here. Good. When you realize you look like Ruin, probably a big stream. No. Actually one of the characters in the game. He actually does. However, this guy looks like he's a meatbag, and he's a skinny guy. They look very similar, though. Like, if he had a fatter head, he'd look almost identical to him. Must be a streamer. He has two keyboards going on here. Interesting. I have a message for incoming Christmas noobs. Is it about skins? Garrison is really OP in both multiplayer and Blackout. Also, Merry Christmas. Oh, it's not about skins. Weird. Okay, so what are we gonna do tonight, guys? Maybe we'll play Atlas. Maybe we'll play Atlas, guys. What do you think? Should we play some Atlas? Honestly, as I mentioned before, just kind of want to play HOTS, to be perfectly honest. The only game I'm really interested in at the moment is HOTS. And HOTS isn't something that people want to watch, so... I don't know. Plays HOTS. I've started playing Varian. Varian's actually pretty fucking OP. A lot of people don't play him, or they aren't good at playing him, but he's a really, really fucking OP character. There's a couple, like, that's kind of one of the downsides of HOTS, putting aside, you know, the fact that it's like a MOBA 2.0, and a lot of people don't actually really don't want that. They want all the pitfalls and like Dota and League of Legends that get all the noobs and they die horribly to them because they don't know how to build a character. A lot of the characters in Heroes of the Storm aren't balanced very well. There's just some that are just like garbage tier. Like they're just borderline worthless. And you get such a huge advantage by playing a character that is like good. Like I've played a lot of tanks and just Diablo and Artanis are just so much better than all the other tanks. Just so much better. Still have yet to play Diva. Varian is just really fucking good. Seems that way. A lot of people, like, it's weird how kind of all over the place people are in HOTS. Because I've played against Varians before, and it's one of the reasons I play the character, because they're just, like, borderline unstoppable. And, like, some people are just like, no, Varian's not actually that good, but, like, play him well. He's just really, really good. There's just some characters that are just really, really fucking good in that game. Bala, Nova, Assassins. Really, really good. Some of the tanks are extremely good, too. It's the future of esports? Maybe. Maybe. Just because they canceled esports doesn't mean it's not coming back. That's kind of a thing a misconception people went with as far as, like, you know, the game being dead, because the reason they canceled the esports is because it wasn't popular, right? If it was popular, they wouldn't have canceled it. But once again, that doesn't mean that they can't once again come back to the game in the future. And, you know, when people are more amicable, when people are more agreeable with what's happening in amicable, I think is the wrong word. When people are more agreeable with what's happening in Heroes of the Storm, as far as the way MOBAs are played, maybe then they can consider esports again. You know, it's not like it's dead forever. It doesn't mean it needs to be dead forever. However, yeah, esports was not very popular for HOTS. Not popular at all. It's funny though, like if I played HOTS, I've been playing HOTS pretty frequently, probably for the last month or so. But like chat, once that happened, chat's like, oh my god, dead game. Just like when you read the chat in Heroes of the Storm is the most toxic chat I have ever seen. Not just toxic, but just so fucking all over the place and random. It's like everyone there has schizophrenia or something. Just like it's just like random discombobbled thoughts, and usually mixed with something lewd. Just like compared to I've played tons and tons of games. In that game, the chat in that game just does not make fucking sense whatsoever sometimes. It's so fucking all over the place. But anyways, everyone just suggests that the game's dead, it's horrible, it's gonna fail. There's one person who spent the entire night, I played a couple games with them, because some reason you end up in a lobby with people that are in chat outside of the lobby. A couple games with this guy, and he spent the entire time trying to convince people that the game was shutting down in like 3 months. Yeah, no, HOTS isn't going anywhere, guys. At the very least, all it's going to end up on is like a maintenance cycle, which means they'll just fix bugs with the game and they won't update it at all. That's not even the case. They like they transferred like half the development team and they canceled the esports, which means there's still going to be characters coming out for the game. It's just going to be slower. Release cycle's going to be slower. It's still a very fun game. I've only played like maybe half the heroes in the game, so there's still a ton, although most of them I don't really want to play, which is why I haven't. Like, for instance, usually if I just play the game, eventually a character will catch my interest, like Varian, which I didn't have any plans on playing. Now I'm playing him. Basically, the last few days I've played HOTS, I've played Varian. There's Diva, which is actually really, from what I've seen, can be a very strong tank. But yeah, just some characters in that game just don't make sense. They aren't remotely balanced. Like Karazim, I enjoy playing a lot. However, you can do, like, because he's a very APM heavy character. He's like, what's the guy from League of Legends that jumps around? He's a martial artist. Blind guy. He's like him. He jumps around on the battlefield. He heals people and shit. But, like, he doesn't, like, you can have a Lily on the enemy team and she'll do better than you. It's very disheartening when you're just, you know, doing all sorts of shit and jumping around the battlefield, which is very risky, and then a Lily just out heals you, and you're just like, oh my god. Oh my god. HOTS has balance issues. Oh yeah, it does. Oh yeah, I've played tons of Sergeant Hammer. I play lots of Sergeant Hammer. Not tons, I've played a decent amount of Sergeant Hammer. She's a very particular hero and kind of an oddball, which is why she's a specialist. Played Probius as well. Basically, people that want to play an RTS, it's kind of weird. That's what I like about HOTS, is they just have weird characters in the game that don't really, like, you wouldn't find them in normal MOBAs, right? Because they seem kind of a little bit too much of an outlier. And then you'll find them in HOTS, like Probius, for instance, that builds shit. Like, lots of shit. Like, he's like playing an RTS character. RTS game, like playing an RTS game. Like Vikings is really APM heavy too. which almost no one can play. If you see a Vikings on your team, you're pretty much screwed. No one can play Vikings well. Basically, like playing 3 characters at the same time, and they're all a third as powerful as a normal character, give or take. So, you know. But anyways, I really enjoy playing HOTS. We can't play HOTS because A, the community on Twitch is fucking toxic as shit as far as HOTS go, and B, no one really wants to watch HOTS anyways. So, I tried that already. I streamed HOTS for like a week, and the amount of shit I got from other streamers that were playing the game. They're in their tiny little community there, and they don't want anyone else to interrupt it. Yeah, where's both? There's both. Battlefield 5. Up, down there. Oh, by World Warships. Good. I always play Alice, guys. I don't know. I was still considering going back to Overwatch. Like I said, if we played a League play again, I think I would play a tank this time around. I would just leave DPS to other people. Just be a tank main. Fuck playing worthless 4 characters, and the only DPS I really like playing is Pharah, so, and A is kind of a weirdo. In terms of carry, guys, it's DPS followed by tanks followed by support, so. Distribution, I mean, this is doing better than both. A lot of Korean streams. Top 500.
Except for me, I fucking hate that clown.
Oh, he's a GM. Oh, it's something to consider. There isn't really a lot of games out right now that I really want to play. We played Overwatch Comp for 1.5 years, so. Russian in. Other GM. I'll watch HOTS, yeah. Yeah, you and like 5 other people. Oh, like the problem with playing HOTS is generally it seems like people only want to watch you play if you're GM or top 500. High GM or top 500. Most of these streams aren't English. It's kind of the weird thing here. I haven't really looked at Overwatch during the daytime to see how many people playing are actually English. Because if this is mainly just a foreign thing, where the only people interested in watching are generally from Korea or Russia or something like that, China, not really as useful. Streaming. Not such a good idea to stream it. Yeah, when I was playing Pharah, you can't play Pharah in like GM level without like a Mercy heal bot. There's so many people up there. It feels like people have aimbots. Just everyone in GM has aimbots. Like if you play against hit scans, they're just always spot on. You'll just insta die. Unless she gets constant heals, she definitely just fuckered. Yeah. It's always been an opportunity. Alright, Wayne. Happy holidays to you too, sir. Overwatch is dominated by goats. Yeah. Yeah, just like every other game in existence. Sure. Go Fortnite. Not going back to Fortnite till they add new servers. But based on what we covered yesterday with servers and we talked about, we read the post by Shreds, I'm pretty sure Fortnite is locked into some sort of exclusivity agreement with Amazon. So they might not have new servers for quite some time. And even though they could do their own servers, it's probably going to be one of these things where we aren't going to see servers from them for who knows how long. It could have been when they first instituted AWS, integrated it into their engine. It could have been from when they started out in Fortnite. Who knows? You know, agreements like that are usually like 1 year or something like that. But it might have been like a 5-year agreement, or who knows. I know it would be kind of weird if they signed themselves into a 5-year exclusivity agreement, but maybe like 2 or 3. Very, very unfortunate, considering the problems that Fortnite has with low ping advantage. Oh, we can be a WoW streamer, guys. Woo! I want to raid every day. Wow, yeah. If I was a pothead, all I want to do is play an MMO, I think, nothing wrong with smoking marijuana. Well, to a certain extent, but like, if you just want to zone out of life, MMORPGs are really, really fucking good at that. I can't handle it. Like, it just feels like you aren't doing anything. I play World of Warcraft for like 2 weeks when a new expansion comes out, and then I'm done again. Ooh, I'll be an ASMR streamer. Oh boy. Uh-huh. Genre is so sexist. Oh my god, there's a guy. How could you do this? How could you do ASMR for 5 hours a day? I don't know. I guess there's worse things to do in life than ASMR. Very true, right? Yeah. I don't know what I want to do, guys. Maybe we'll do some 2-point today. I mean, they'll keep me busy for at least a little bit. We still have the option of doing Oxy. There's tons of single-player games I could do. I don't really feel like playing both right now, even though I have both open. Where we're at right now, Battlefield 5, although it was fun for a while, is definitely dead. There's too much game now. It used to be one of those things where you occasionally run into a guy in each game that kind of knew where you were and always just pick you off. You could never find him. You know, always just straight around the corner looking at your face. And then last time we streamed it, there's just people everywhere doing that shit. Kids on break. By daylight, still has people playing it. Surprising. Oh. I've played a lot of Brig in Overwatch. For a while, I was just playing quick play outside of streaming. I was playing quick play in Overwatch, but even that's kind of died out for me. Now I play HOTS, lots and lots of HOTS off stream. Not comp or anything either. I just queue into it. People doing in HOTS. They're actually doing competitive play. Pretty much everyone is in the top 2 channels. I mean, I guess I could have, 1,000 people watch me from HOTS. And maybe eventually, if I streamed it for like a year. Then, get over all the haters. But like people that want to watch HOTS, I'm pretty sure will never migrate with you to a different game. Like, it's like, a little bit too far-fetched going from a first-person shooter to a MOBA. Or even single-player games. That's a very, very specific sort of game. Kind of amounts to leaving your community behind again if you swap games. That's one of the things you have to be careful of, guys, if you get too niche of a game. If you ever decide to leave after streaming it for like a year, however long you spend in the game to build your community, and then this community won't migrate with you, and they'll just go and watch a different streamer play HOTS. Been there, done that. That is very disappointing when that happens. Yeah, I think we're going to play some 2 Point, guys. Then maybe I'll feel like playing both. 2 Point's a very easy game to play. There. Okay. We're going to do the new DLC. We basically 100%ed 2 Point. Actually, we didn't 100%. We beat all the hospitals in 2 Point. We've talked about Atlas plenty, Idwin, at the beginning of the stream yesterday and today, if you're looking to catch up on that one. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's probably going to be the next big thing for probably a couple more days, and then it's done. I gave it a week. I tried doing that. You're talking about, like, doing like a 50-50 stream. That's actually a good idea. Personally, this is kind of one of my problems is, like, I actually just enjoy playing one game for the entire stream, because I only stream for about 5 to 6 hours a day. So I don't have, like, a 10-hour stream. So I like playing just, like, one game, because I really get into it, and then I just want to keep playing that game, and then I don't really want to switch off to a new game. There is something to be said for, like, like, there's indie streamers that just stream indie games, and they have a crowd that just follows them around. They just play anything that's not mainstream. Thought about doing that, like Binding of Isaac or something. We play Oxy. We do play indie games on occasion, like we're playing 2 Point tonight. But I'm definitely a first-person shooter streamer. Oh, 5,000 megabytes. This is going to take so long. It is. It's Arc with ships. We cover this. We spent a lot of time yesterday talking about Arc and problems with the game, and today. This isn't even going at full speed. This is going at... I could go full speed. And fuck up my... Oh! Hang on for frame drop, guys. Prepare for frame drop. Oh, we haven't completely hit 0 yet. Oh, it hit 0. Don't disconnect, don't disconnect, don't disconnect, don't disconnect. God, I think I saved it. That was pretty close. When it bottoms out at 0, that's bad. When it dips a bit, that's different. But when it bottoms out at 0 and just sits there for a bit, that's usually when you get disconnected. Go again. Ludicrous speed. Oh, it's done. There we go. Done, guys. Welcome back. Couldn't wait the minute and a half for it to download. It's funny, like the bandwidth limits they give you in Steam. They aren't good enough. They give you like 25 megabytes a second as the top, and I have a 460 megabit connection, and it's only like half the speed. And you can't manually type in what kind of speed you want, which is actually pretty shitty. Thanks, Steam. Thanks, Valve. Not Steam. Thanks, Valve. Yeah, it's, what games do you play? Oh, I've played tons of games. I've been streaming for over 6 years now. We spent, if we're talking about mainstream games that I've spent a decent amount of time streaming, started out streaming Blacklight Retribution, followed by Natural Selection 2, and then we shifted over to PlanetSide 2 for like a year. As far as games, I spent a significant amount of time playing PlanetSide 2 for like a year, Overwatch for a year and a half, H1Z1, spent about a year streaming that game. Fortnite, we streamed that game for 10 months, 8 of which I spent a lot of time complaining about low ping advantage. And now we're kind of in limbo right now where I don't have a game to play anymore. So it's just kind of like we're doing whatever. And there's a bunch of small little piddly games in between there too, where I get bored or I try new things. All right, let's see what this DLC is about, guys. Yeah, no, it was me. We're overriding that bandwidth limitation there. Done with podcast.